Okay, chapter 38, Angiosperm Reproduction and Biotechnology. So we've got a beautiful cross-section of the flower. You guys got to do either on your own or in the class, a beautiful dissection of flowers. Some of you guys, if you did the sunflower, you might be hating me right about now. But you got to see what they all look like, right? Nice, beautiful cross-section. And I'll pull down my flower in just a little bit. Really make sure you know the parts of the flower. And that's what we're gonna get going on. All right, we're gonna look at some flowers and some fruit. Hopefully you're looking at fruit a little differently now. So your sporophyte, remember your sporophyte, that's your dominant generation. As the plants became more evolved, your sporophyte, that's your diploid, your 2N, that became more dominant. Your gametophyte became reduced. Angiosperms gametophyte is the most reduced of all the plants. There are only a few cells. Flowers have double fertilization and fruits. That's for angiosperms, right? They have flowers, double fertilization, and fruit. FFF, all right? Double fertilization, remember, because you've got the first sperm that comes in, fertilizes the egg, and then you've got the second fertilization that comes in, fertilizes, or actually just the two nuclei merge together between that diploid nucleus, and that second sperm, forming a triploid cell, and that becomes the endosperm, which ends up feeding the actual egg. So a little weird, but cool at the same time. All right, and then you've got, of course, the fruit. So flowers, reproductive shoots of an angiosperm. That's the entire purpose of a flower. It's the reproductive part. So back in the day, in the Victorian era, when we started giving flowers to be romantic, we were basically saying, here are the reproductive parts of flowers. Very pretty. Right? Interesting. So, the way you remember the parts of the flower are the sepals. The sepals are the protective leaves of your flower. The petals, look at me, I'm so pretty, come check me out. Right? That's the makeup, what I like to call the makeup. Then you have the stamens, right? Which is made up of the filament and the anther. Remember, stamens has the word men in it. That's how you remember it's the male part. Because the anther right here is what holds the pollen, which has the sperm in it, with the pollen tube. And then the carpel. Okay, the carpel is made up of the ovary, the style, right? I always like to do style, because women like to be in style, so this is the female part. And then the sticky stigma, okay? Some of you guys in high school bio might have learned it as the pistil, because that's what the state of Florida wants us to teach you guys as. Just know that carpel and pistil mean the same thing. It's just two different names. Y'all know biology, you know scientists, they love to come up with two different names for the same thing. Carpel, pistil means the exact same thing. All right, so you've got your sepals, your petals, your stamen, your carpel or pistil. All right, that's from the outside in. That's how you remember it. So protect the flower, makeup of the flower, male parts of the flower, female part of the flower. All right? Okay, receptacle. That's the part of the stem right here, part of the flower, where the flower organ is going to attach to your stem, right? The flower attaches to the stem right here. You've got the sepals, like we said, that's going to protect the flower until the flower is ready to go ahead and have the pollen either be carried away, or if this flower allows itself to be self-pollinated, to pollinate and fertilize this particular egg. We've got the sepals, we've got the petals. They look very pretty to attract the pollinators. You've got the stamen, the entire purpose of the stamen. You've got the filament right here, which is to hold the anther nice and high so that the pollinators can come. So if you've got a little fly that comes in or a bee that comes in, touches, the legs touch on here, the pollen sticks to the legs, then the bee comes on here and the pollen comes off the legs, and that sticky stigma, if you had the lily, you probably saw the ooze coming out of it, and it's really super sticky, and it'll stick right there, so the pollen tube can come down the style, come down all the way here, and come in. That's the pollen tube that comes down. Once the pollen tube comes down all the way into the ovary where the egg is located, then the sperm will come in and swim down and fertilize that egg. Two different sperms, remember, for that double fertilization. Got the petals, we got the stamen, the carpel, it just holds the ovary at the base right here. You've got the style, just to allow the pollen tube to go down to protect it. you have a chance to look at your flowers right now, if you start noticing your flowers, if you have a flower that's got perfect petals and the stamen that fall to the ground and they look perfectly unwilted, everything looks perfect, I can almost guarantee you, especially if it's a fruit-bearing tree, I can almost guarantee you that you have a pregnant flower and you are going to hit yourself a fruit right there. So start watching your fruit-bearing trees right now. If the petals are wilted and the stamen is in rough shape and they are on the floor, and who knows if it's pregnant or not. But if those petals are beautiful and look just right and they're on the floor, I can almost guarantee it. And it makes sense. The flower's pregnant now, it doesn't want to be messed with anymore. So it drops everything that might attract pollinators. Like, nuh-uh, leave me alone. The job's done, it's pregnant. Now we just need to take care of this egg and have that fruit grow around it so that somebody else can come in, eat the fruit, walk away, and take that seedling, that baby, that seed, somewhere else, poop it somewhere else, right? And go ahead and have it grow away from the mama plant, because if it grows right at the feet of the mama plant, is that a good thing? No, right? Because it's going to be in competition with the mama plant for sunlight, and we don't want that. 6 more slides. Nice short chapter of this one. So, the complete flower, you have all 4 types of leaves. Incomplete flowers, they're going to lack one or more of them. You've got staminates, they'll lack the female part. And then carpellets, they'll lack the male part, right? Carpel, stamen, that's how you got to think of it, all right? Flowers may grow alone or in clusters. These are called inflorescence. Those are your sunflowers, those of you who dealt with the sunflower. So there you go. These have both male and female parts. These have just male and these have just female parts. If you have a tree such as an avocado or a mango that has specifically male or female flowers, that's what we call a dioecious tree, okay? So I think I've told you guys about this. You'll have a code when you buy the tree and you just type it into Google and it'll tell you specifically what kind of tree it is and whether it's male or female. And so if you want avocados, you need to make sure you buy a male tree and a female tree, and you need to plant them not too far apart, or at least have your neighbor get one and you get the other one, so that you'll have that pollination occur and then you guys can split the avocados or mangoes. All right, those are the 2 I'm thinking of off the top of my head. The pollen falls in the stigma. Rain is going to activate it to produce a pollen tube. Go down the style. There's that pollen tube coming down. All right, once it goes all the way down, 2 sperm will enter it. One will fertilize the egg, form the zygote, and then the other one mixes with that, diploid cell, and then form a triploid cell and become the endosperm, which will feed the actual seed, okay? The growing zygote, all right? That's it for this slide. Nice and easy. That's your double fertilization. We know about this. We've talked about this several times. The ovary becomes the fruit, which will protect the enclosed seed and aids in dispersal. Now you've got your simple fruit, your aggregate fruit. So simple fruits, 1 carpel of 1 flower. Those are your peas, your lemons, your peanuts. Simple, you've got 1 flower, 1 fruit, that's it. Nice and easy. Aggregate fruit, these guys are going to come from separate carpels found in 1 flower. From the lab that you guys did last week, or 2 weeks ago, you probably saw these. Those are your raspberries, your blackberries, your strawberries, all right? What's interesting is notice that these guys, their seeds are where? On the outside of the fruit, right? Kind of interesting. Then you've got your multiple fruit. You'll have many carpels of many flowers that form that inflorescent flower. That's your pineapple, your fig. I'm going to switch over real quick because I want to show you guys the flower of a pineapple, which is really, really pretty, and it makes you understand pineapple so much better. You know, my computer's a little slow sometimes. There it is, right there. You see each one of those individual flowers, which will then come together to form that fruit. That's why those new videos are coming out telling us, hey, you can grab those eyes of the pineapple and tear them apart, because technically they're individual separate fruits. It's kind of cool. And then lastly, come on, we've got our accessory fruit. That's from tissues other than your ovary, okay? That's your apples and strawberries. So strawberries are actually two different examples. They're aggregate fruits and accessory fruits at the same time. It's kind of interesting. Cool. And then we've got a cool picture right here showing the different flowers right here and what they become, right? You start noticing there's your stamen, right? Here's that flower, what it becomes. See right here, this is what becomes the actual apple. The ovaries in the middle, we're eating the outside of it. That's your receptacle. That's the part, remember, that attaches the flower to the stem. So we're eating the receptacle of the actual plant. I don't know, it is interesting. Start looking at things differently. So what we're eating, we always think of this is the bottom of the apple. It's actually the top. That's where the sepal was. Cool, right? I love this stuff. Coconuts. They get dispersed by water. Good God, I'm blanking on that right now. All right. Yeah. Okay, this particular weed, you know what it's called. I'm blanking on it. Dispersed by wind, right? As little kids, we love to pick them up and blow them. And as adults, when you see kids do that, you're like, no, because when you're dispersing the seeds. If you grab them and you pluck them, you'll see at the very base of them, the seeds. Right here, you've got two seeds. Tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds, they stay attached until they're ready to release their seeds. And when they do, that's when they become loose. And they're tumbling, releasing their seeds because the wind is literally blowing them around. It's kind of cool. These guys are getting moved around by the ants, so they release the sweetness. Oh, we're very familiar with that burr, those burrs, right? Grass burrs. They attach to us so that they can grab onto us or animals and get carried somewhere else and fall off. Of course, our little squirrels, thank you very much. And that is a black bear scat, a nice fancy word for poop. All right, so they eat them, they poop them, and hopefully they're pooping them far away from the mother plant so that those baby plants have a better chance of surviving. Last slide. Monoecious plants have separate male and female plants on the same plant. Dioecious have male plants and female plants. That's what we're talking about. So that's your avocado and mango trees, where you have to have both a male and a female tree in your yard in order to get avocados or mangoes. Okay, those are the two examples that always come to mind. All right, guys, we're finished with chapter 38. Only one left.